Hey everybody, what's up? Neal Walter here. Welcome back to the Guitar Tricks channel. Got a new tip and lesson for you today on unison bends. First off, if you're not watching this on guitartricks.com, you're missing a free lesson every week. So head over to guitartricks.com/channel, sign up for our newsletter, and I'll send you 2 lessons to your inbox every week. Tip of the week is gig related. If you have a band and you want to market your band, the key thing is your email list, your newsletter list. You want to collect email addresses because that's how you'll market to all your fans at your next show. So when you're doing a gig, you could have something like a little flyer on the table that says, put your email here, and also comments or questions. What did you like? What did you not like? And you also get feedback on how to improve your band and what the audience is really thinking. Because you may have one idea, we sound this or we sound that, but you really want the honest opinion from the audience. You can also offer a free download MP3 of your music to entice people to write their email address down, or even better yet, you could have someone there with a clipboard who is friendly and possibly attractive, going around the room and asking for your email addresses because it's harder to say no to a human than just a piece of paper. So collect those email addresses. Newsletter is a great thing to have at least once a month to let your fans know what's going on with your band, and it's also a good way to reach out to your fans. You want to know what city they're in if you're going outside of your own city, so that you can market directly to that city and build your fan base. Because once you build your fan base up, you can play just about any club you want to, depending on your draw. On to our lesson of the week, unison bends. They sound a little something like this. They're heard everywhere in rock and roll. The most obvious place is probably the solo in Frankenstein by Edgar Winter Group. It's used by Jimmy Page, Slash, Hendrix, Eddie Van Halen, and so it's not something to be dismissed if you're into rock and roll. So I'm going to show you a few tips on how to get great unison bends. What you're doing here is you're basically playing a note on one string. I'll be playing the key of E, and I'll be striking the 5th fret of the B string, and then bending the 7th fret of the G string up a whole step so it matches that tone. You can tell when you're matching the note because the warbling goes away. Now you've matched the note. And those notes are in unison. And you can really mess around with this by dropping it slightly, bending back up. You can do a volume swell where you have your volume off, strike the bend up, bring the volume up. You get kind of a swell going on there. A great way to use this is to lead with your index finger and move up the scale, matching the unison bend with your 3rd finger like this. So in the key of E, I'm just going up the E minor scale. And the way to play this is to rake across the 2 strings that you're striking, in this case G and B, with one stroke. If you want to go up the scale like this, one thing to notice is that I stop the note from ringing before I go to the next note. And I do that by dampening with my right hand to stop the strings from ringing so I get nice clean notes. But I do it very quickly so you don't notice it's a note. You can also let it ring out like that so it's more smooth. That's dampening, this is ringing out. The hardest thing about unison bends is that 3rd finger strength. So what you want to do to make it happen is to use your middle finger behind the 3rd finger to help get that bend. Because it's really hard to do this just with the 3rd finger. It wants to rip the skin away from your fingernail. So go ahead and place that other finger behind it for a little added strength. If you're in the key of E, another way to resolve this bend up here is to drop your pinky on the 15th fret of the B string and do this. Add this note, which is the 7th of E, along with the bend. It's that kind of train sound if you want to resolve it that way. You can also use it at the open position in the key of E, with the open B string, and bending at the 2nd fret. Really cool effect right there with that one. Cool things about Unison bends is it creates a big rock sound even with just a couple notes. Not only can you use it starting on the B string, but you can also use it starting on the high E string. For example, 5th fret of the E string, now you're going to want to bend up a half step farther up the fretboard. And I like to use my 3rd finger for strength there, even though it's where you might normally put your pinky. And bend from the B string, 8th fret, up to match it like that. There's a lot you can do with the Unison bends to create cool sounds within a solo, especially if you're starting out soloing and you're a little stuck and you're not sure what to do. You use this with a couple other techniques and you can really flavor what you've got going already just with something that's slightly new. It's not a big stretch from just a normal bend, you know. One thing to remember, if you have a floating bridge, if you bend up on your string, the bridge is going to go down and lower the pitch of the string that you're trying to match. So you might want to, if you have a floating bridge and you want to match the pitch exactly, you might want to get a tuner out. Test your Unison bend. And if it's a little lower than you expected, try adding a little pressure to the bridge to bring it back up to match the exact pitch if you want to be dead on. A lot of fun with Unison bends. It's used, all the great guys have used it, so have a little fun with it, make it your own. I'm going to play a little riff right now for you and show you how I could use it in a couple different instances. That's it for this week's. Thanks for tuning on in. Don't forget, if you got a toggle switch, you can do this with the Unison bends too. See you next week.